Okay, we are still talking about IQ here. Remember, we have IQ as a normal distribution with mean 100 and standard deviation 15. I want to know what percent of people have IQ above 140. That's genius level. Well, from our empirical rule, we never landed exactly on 140 because we were going by 15s. So we're going to need some more advanced techniques. We can't use the empirical rule. In fact, we never have to use the empirical rule. This method really always works. And these are z-scores. So the first thing we want to do is define z-scores. A z-score, this is the formula we're using in this chapter. X minus mu over sigma. I don't want you to memorize that. I want you to memorize this. A z-score is the one you want minus the one in the middle of your distribution divided by whatever standard deviation you're using right now. So the z-score for 140 would be 140, the one I was asked about, minus 100, the number in the middle of this graph, divided by my standard deviation, 15. A z-score is a measure of how far you are away from the mean in terms of standard deviations. So if someone had an IQ of 140, they would be 2.67 standard deviations above the mean. That's big. Remember, on our empirical rule, if you go 3 standard deviations on both sides, you've captured 99.7% of the entire population. A z-score of 3 is big. A z-score of 10 would be gigantic. It would be something that we would never expect to happen in the lifetime of the universe. So if you're ever calculating z-scores and you get z-scores of like 50, you've goofed. 2.67 is a pretty big z-score. So if we draw that on the picture, that's way up here. Now, the normal model won't allow us to find the probability of hitting that number exactly. We always have to either go above or below. We can only find the probability of being between values. So I'm going to draw my picture here and shade above that. I want to know what's the probability of being 140 or above. What we could do, the old way we used to do this is look this up in a z-table, but we have these fancy calculators. We're going to do this on the calculator. So we're going to use this button on our calculator. We're going to go see vars here, and above that, distribution. We need to get up there to the blue, so we hit second, vars, and then we want number 2 here. We will never use number 1 for anything. Number 2, normal CDF. Now it's asking me for z-scores here. I know there are shortcuts you can use, but in my experience, people that use the shortcuts get confused and end up getting everything wrong. So I'm asking you to not use the shortcuts. Leave these numbers right here alone. Never, ever, ever, even a single time change these two numbers. Leave that 0 and that 1. If your calculator does not have 0 and 1 there right now, fix that. If your screen looks different from mine, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'm going to type in now my lowest z-score that I shaded and my biggest. Okay, so I want to know this guy's z-score. We always type in z-scores. We just found that. That was 2.67. So I'll type that, 2.67. And then I wanted to go everything above that. How high did I shade? How far does this graph go? This graph goes to infinity on this side and negative infinity on this side. So my upper is infinity because I shaded forever. Well, I can't type infinity in the calculator. So the way we type infinity is 99. We go down and hit paste. Nothing's happened until we hit enter. Now, if your screen looked different from that, if it just, when you went to second distribution, normal CDF, and just something that looks like this popped up on the screen, you would just type 2.67, comma, right there, 99, and then hit enter. Check that on your own right now. You should get this number. That is the probability of being above 140, of having a z-score bigger than 2.67. So 0.004. So the percentage of people that have an IQ over 140 is about 0.004, rounded to the third place there. Okay, what if we wanted to find the percent of people with an IQ below 110? Same 3 steps every time. Write this down. Draw the picture, find your z-scores, normal CDF. Draw the picture, find the z-scores, normal CDF. So right here in the middle, I have 100, my mean. 110's up here. I want to go below that. I know to shade below because the question said below. So shade everything below 110. I find my z-score, the one I want, minus the one in the middle, divided by my standard deviation, 0.67. Somebody with an IQ of 110 is 0.67 standard deviations above the mean. My other z-score, the lowest thing I shaded all the way down to negative infinity. So my lowest thing I shaded is negative 99. We can't type infinity in the calculator, so we just type in a big negative number. Down here is negative 99 z-scores. Up here is positive 99 z-score. So I'll type that in my calculator. Second bars, normal CDF. Smallest to largest. Smallest thing we shaded to biggest. Z-scores, not actual scores. Remember, this is the minus button. If you type that, the calculator is going to get mad at you. I want negative 99 up to, what was it, 0.67? Yes. Or if you have the other kind of calculator, normal CDF, negative 99, comma, 0.67, and hit enter. And I get that number, about 75%. Look at my picture. That makes sense. I've shaded over half of the picture, so it makes sense that I get an answer that's bigger than 50%. So about 74.9% have IQs below 110. What if I want to go between two values? Same exact steps. Draw the picture, find the z-scores, normal CDF, smaller, comma, larger. So I draw the picture. I want to go between 80 and 125. Right in the middle is 100, my mean for IQ. Find each z-score. Notice this guy's negative. Why is it negative? Because 80 is below the mean. A negative z-score is below the mean. A positive z-score is above the mean. That should say a couple of typos here. I'll fix this document and re-upload it. This should say for 125, because that's the number we typed in, and that is not a negative number. That is a positive number. So 125 minus 100 divided by 15, 1.67. Now you have to be careful typing these z-scores in. I see a lot of mistakes happen here. If you type it like this, if you type 125 minus 100 divided by 15, you're going to get the wrong answer. See? Look at that, 118. You will never, ever, ever get a z-score like 118. Never. That means you've goofed. The biggest z-score you'll ever get, I think once this semester we get a z-score of 11, and the whole point of that is it's something that's almost impossible. This whole thing needs to be subtracted first, then divided. So either use parentheses, 125 minus 100 divided by 15, or the way I like to do it, just do the top first, 125 minus 100, hit enter, then divided by 15. So again, that should be a positive. That's a typo there, and that should say 125. So my two z-scores are negative 133. He was negative because he's below the mean. Positive 167, 1.67. Positive because he's above the mean. Then we do normal CDF. Smallest, comma, largest, or lower, upper. If you have the other kind of calculator, you'll just type it in like this. So negative, here's my negative button, 1.33, 1.67. Always leave these alone. Don't change those two numbers or you will mess up everything all semester. Hit enter, 0.86. So 86.1% of people have IQ between 80 and 125.